According to new research, more than a quarter of school-aged Canadian children are sleep deprived. This news comes only days after the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, with help from a panel of experts, released its first ever official sleep guidelines for children. So joining us now is Dr. Joelene Huber. She's a pediatrician and professor of medicine at the University of Toronto, and she has some props with her too. We're going to get to those in a moment, but first, what are the issues that you see in your daily practice with kids and sleep?
So sleep is one of the biggest issues that I hear about from parents. You can go on any Facebook site for parents or parent magazine or blog site, and this is the big question that parents are asking. How much sleep does my child need? When will my child sleep through the night? What do I do to get them down at night? And so it's a pretty common question. And over the past few decades, children are sleeping less, at least half an hour to an hour less per night than a few decades ago. And as you mentioned, 25% of school-age children or more and teenagers are in this lack of sleep, or what we call the lack of sleepidemic, and because it's become a big problem.
Okay, so I get the sense of sleepless parents looking up why their kids aren't sleeping either. A bit of that. What are some of the problems that kids are encountering, especially, as you say, with the dramatic increase in the lack of sleep?
Yeah, well, sleep scientists are learning more and more about the importance of sleep. And I think we all know a good night's sleep is important, but I think we used to think you just lay down, your body rests, your brain turns off. But we're starting to realize that there's a lot of things that happen while we're sleeping. So we start to learn that in preschool years, the memories and learning that children have are being consolidated during sleep. Hormones are regulated during sleep, so that can impact things like obesity. During sleep, children can have issues with attention, school performance, behavior, and often kids will come into my office and the issue is a school or attention issue, but if we do a thorough history and do some more investigations, sometimes the root of the problem is just a lack of sleep, or a lack of sleep is contributing to the problem. As kids get older, there's obesity, depression, suicidal thoughts, sports injuries. All of these things are associated with this lack of sleep that kids are getting.
So you really have to peel back the onion to find out really what the problem is, and you think in many cases at the heart of it is lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep. And we know that growth hormone is released while kids are sleeping, so it's important for growth and physical development, not just mental health and learning.
Less sleep, shorter kids. So, okay, now, so what are some of the guidelines that the new guidelines that are out as far as getting the right amount of sleep?
Yeah, so the new guidelines looked at all of the scientific evidence on sleep duration and the impact on health and physical health and safety for children. And they divided it by age. So at 4 to 12 months of age, kids should actually be getting about 12 to 16 hours of sleep. So that's they're sleeping way more than they're awake at that age. At 1 to 2 years of age, it's 11 to 14 hours of sleep that's recommended. And at 3 to 5 years of age, it's 10 to 13 hours of sleep. And then in those school age, where parents are really important about kids getting enough sleep for school, the 6 to 12 years, it's 9 to 12 hours of sleep. And then in the teenage years, kids still need sometimes up to 10 hours of sleep in the teen years. So we really want to, some teens need more, so 8 to 10 hours. You still want to be thinking about making sure kids are getting a really good sleep even in the teen years.
Yeah, with sleepy teenagers, there's nothing new there. I think maybe it's the earlier years that people are surprised that they need all this. So you brought in some stuff to demonstrate to us how parents can ensure their kids do get a better night's sleep.
Right, so we brought in these shoes, and people were saying, what does shoes have to do with sleep? Well, this is really representing kids and physical activity. And the 24-hour movement guidelines that have just come out for kids are saying that there's a real interrelation between kids' activity and kids' sleep. And it's really not rocket science, but the more that kids move, the better that they sleep. And the better they sleep, the more they are to move. So there's this interrelationship between physical activity and obesity, and we need to think of the whole 24-hour clock when we're thinking about activity and sleep, and making sure that we know that grade 5 kids that are more active are actually more awake during the day. Teens that get an hour of physical activity sleep better at night. So physical activity is the #1 kind of big contributor as a sleep aid that we can do for our kids.
Just got a little bit of time left. What else have we got here?
So we need to think about routine and being consistent 7 days a week, going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. It's summer solstice tomorrow, the longest busiest day of the year, so sometimes that's tricky as we're going into the summer and routines are changing, but keeping a consistent routine and consistent wake up and bedtime is really important. Routines need to be the same, so soothing, quiet activities like a bath, book time, those all help us to quiet down and keep the same routine before bed, and we want to do that for our kids.
And finally, the devices.
Finally,
keep them away, right?
Keep them away at least 30 minutes before bed for teens, and for kids of all ages, 2 hours before bed. You want to stop the screens and keep them out of the bedroom. When they're in the bedroom, they're staying up later, they're binging off during the night, they're exposed to that blue light that disrupts their sleep, and it also, they're more likely to watch inappropriate content or engage in inappropriate activities. So these should be out of the bedroom and 2 hours before bedtime off for kids.
There's going to be some crying done about that one, I know. Thank you, Dr. Huber. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Breakfast cereal. It's not just for your bowl anymore, at least not since an internet trend called the Cheerio Challenge. It started with an Orange County, California father who had a sleeping baby on his lap and a nearby box of cereal. Since then, it's turned into a game of one-upsmanship. Who can stack the most Cheerios on a sleeping child? No matter who wins, they're all cute enough to eat. You're watching the CBC News Network. The weather's next.